kids to be able to offer classes that are dual enrollment, and even through the career and technical education courses, there's a possibility of kids getting certifications for industry and career readiness. Yes, over here.
Yeah, you mentioned about cafeteria, it will look like IKEA, but I wanted to know how many students can you see the
Inside the cafeteria?
Yes. Because when you're there.
Good question. It's pretty big. I don't know. I'd have to find that out for you.
All right.
You're right. I mean, it is pretty linear. There's a lot of places for kids to be during that time.
Yeah, because my own daughter went through Kimball, what happened is that they don't have enough seats inside
Right.
cafeteria.
And then it gets windy.
Outside, it was strong wind.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was terrible.
Part of the design of the quad is such that you notice that there's a two-story building here, and then there's the classroom building here, and then there's the theater here, and the multi-purpose room, and they're all pretty tall, and we're trying to box in that quad area so that it blocks some of that wind before it goes through. That was intentional on our part. So, yes?
Are the advanced placement classes the first year?
So the first, freshmen don't take AP courses. Typically the first AP course you take is in your sophomore year, and that's world history, AP world history. So we'll have that available
Will that be available?
for kids who can take.
Maybe. She's already taking one as an 8th grader, so.
Okay.
if I were to tonight-
Yeah, if there's, so if we don't, this is the beauty of doing an online program, is that if we don't offer, because we can't offer an entire section for one student, but we can offer an online course for a student to take AP courses. So there are options for that. There are the students who are very advanced. Traditional high schools can't usually, accommodate for that all the time, but we will have online options for the first couple of years. Definitely in the future, we would not prevent a student from taking an AP course if they're ready for it. That's not the way we operate.
Are you referring to the geometry class that she's taking?
Excuse me?
Are you referring to the geometry class she's
Yes.
taking? So that's a PAP class.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is PAP at high school.
Yeah.
We will be offering those
For freshmen?
for
Yeah.
freshmen.
Mhm.
So PAP will be offered, that's what Mr. Pereira
Right.
was saying, that class you're mentioning is a PAP. We will be offering those for freshmen
Right.
and for sophomore. But we will also be offering world history AP class
For
for
sophomores.
sophomores as well, which is not a typical trend. That, like for example, for her, when she will be in 9th grade, she will be taking pre-AP Algebra 2.
Right.
And in 10th grade, we will learn AP Pre-Calculus.
Right.
So she would be able to take,
In her sophomore
logistically,
year.
she would be able to take 2 AP classes in her sophomore year,
Right.
which traditionally starts in junior year.
Correct.
If you look at the schools around here in this area or even outside, you see what problems do they face and whether it's performance or any other issues and what steps are they need to mitigate or before they have to
Right.
us.
So we've met with several schools. We've met with Kimball High School to talk to their principal about what they've done. As you can imagine, this is a huge undertaking for us. In a district even like Tracy, they have a little bit easier because they've got other high schools in their district to model it by. What we are doing is I have connections at many different high schools, especially brand new high schools. There's one, El Capitan High School in Merced County that's just opening, who I'm good friends with the principal, and I'm using my networks to make sure that I know and I'm learning of what were the problems that you had in opening and making sure we're not making those mistakes.
Right, and not just opening, just the students' performance or any other behavior issues or.
Well, we have really high-performing students in this district. We do. We're very fortunate, and that's because you parents send them ready to learn.
Yeah.
And that's great. We're very grateful for that. I am very familiar with high school students. I've been in the business for 15 years. Most of it, except for 3 years, was in the high school. As far as discipline issues, I'm a really tall guy and I'm scary. They don't want to come see me. No, I'm also a really reasonable person, and I don't really believe in an environment where we throw the book at kids for little mistakes that they make. They're learning. Part of being in school is knowing that they're learning and they're going to make dumb mistakes, and we need to make sure that they learn from those. And my discipline philosophy is that we don't just throw the book at kids. We help them to learn from the things that they've done and then move forward from there.
I'd like to question.
Sure.
Phase 2 is
Phase 2 has started. Actually, that classroom building, the big classroom building, is part of Phase 2. So we're into Phase 2 right now. Yeah. And so is the stadium is Phase 2.
You mentioned the juniors and seniors, so I have a freshman right now, Pimple,
Right.
and there's been some concern that he's gonna make friends all year, and will it be mandated that he come to the school?
We're going to create an environment where kids are not going to they're not going to want to stay at Kimball. Well, I mean, honestly, like, the issue is that, a good percentage of the kids at Kimball are Mountain House kids, and they're all going to be coming together. I understand, you make
Well,
friends.
The juniors and seniors, though, they're gonna have to stay, right?
The juniors and seniors will be staying.
So that's what I'm saying, if they're out of district, are they
Who?
forced to come here, freshmen and sophomores?
The freshmen, are they forced to come here?
Yeah.
Well,
Because it's in our district.
right. So ultimately, we can't force anybody to do anything. If you want to fill out an inter-district transfer for your kid, you could do that. But we're going to have a fully functioning high school with sports, and it's going to be a smaller environment initially. And so they're going to have the opportunity to be the first ones to lead out in the sports teams, in the leadership applications of the school, in the academics, and they're going to miss out if they don't come to us. I mean, it's going to be, and all their friends that live here in Mountain House pretty much are going to be coming to us. And so there's not really going to be a reason for them to really want to stay at Kimball.
Okay, my daughter's a freshman at Kimball.
Probably.
She's already, I'm not coming back.
Right.
So, I'm just keeping my mouth shut right now.
Right.
Can you maybe, before this school year ends, get those kids together, show them what you have to offer? Because her two main concerns are soccer, which she can be possibly playing varsity, which she won't have, and leadership. The program being so established, and she's absolutely amazed by it.
Right.
So, I'm just laying low right now,
I know.
so
Right.
would love to see.
So they will be our students. They won't be Tracy's students anymore.
I realize that,
And so, in order to go to Tracy, you would have to be granted.
right? Which would only be denied by Lammersville, correct?
I don't know. It depends on how full Kimball's going to be.
Kimball.
Or not. But,
But my thing is, can
So
you
we will be
present
having-
this
yes.
in a,
So, yes, and we will be having student meetings. We're going to have, pretty soon, we're almost in September. In September, we'll be having a student meeting to talk to students who are interested in leadership and sports and all that kind of stuff, to talk to them about, we're going to create an environment basically where they get to build a school. They will be able to say, I put my stamp on that. That leadership program is mine. That soccer team is mine. I did all of that. This is us. And so I think we're going to create an environment for students where they're going to feel like they will miss out on a huge opportunity if they don't come back to us. Here and then here and then there.
The student meetings, are they going to be at Kimball or outside? Like my daughter is she's doing Kava this year, so she doesn't have to go to Kimball and then switch to Mountain House.
Right.
So are the student meetings going to be at Kimball or?
No, they'll be here.
Okay.
I'll be going to Kimball too later in the year because we have to present to students what we're going to be offering next year. But honestly, I'm going to say it again. Some of these meetings are going to be, I know what's at Kimball, but so you know what's at Kimball. The students know what's at Kimball. Tell me what they have that you think we're not going to have. And then I'm going to tell you how it's going to be better here. Because you're not going to have to drive all the way there, and you're going to be in your own community, and it's going to be awesome. Here, and then there, and then there.
So, the assumption is that you will only have JV teams.
Yeah.
But within the league, much like, so I coached at Livermore. And when I walked in, I had a program that I had to develop. And we didn't have a freshman program. And the boys team, quote unquote, didn't have a varsity program. But we kind of negotiated with the league and we talked to the league commissioner and said, look, we have kids that are sophomores, we can play varsity. We'll take the beating the first year. Are we gonna have that option? If
We
we
can have any
choose
option
within
we
our
want.
league and we propose to the league, like, we
It'll
wanna have
depend
a
on,
varsity team.
it'll depend on what the league tells us they're willing to let us do, and whether we've got coaches or athletic directors who are ready to take that on.
Okay, okay.
We're not saying no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, and
I'm
that's
just saying, from
basically
my
one
top of my head, we're
Yes.
probably not gonna have JV or
Right.
varsity teams the first year. If we have a big group of kids who are awesome volleyball players, then maybe we will, I don't know. So, I had, right here in the black shirt, yeah.
I'm a freshman at Kilmore right now.
Uh-huh.
I'll be going to Mount House next year.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering if we can take a 0 period.
So yes, we're planning on offering a program where students who are accelerated or who have other things that they're interested in may be able to take a 0 period with just talking to the principal and getting, the permission for that. We may even also have an A period and then a B period. So there might be the possibility for certain students to be taking school from 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. I don't know why somebody would want to do that. Here, and then I'll go to the people in the back.
I have a question with regards to lockers. I've got my senior and my sophomore that go and they lug around so many books and they're dying. Will this school offer lockers for
We
them?
don't have lockers. What we're looking into is a little more advanced technologically. A lot of publishing companies offer their books online, and if we go to a one-to-one environment, all they'll be carrying is like a Chromebook or an iPad. I don't know what we're going to do, but that's what we're going for. Okay, I was going in the back. Simon.
So two-part question.
Sure.
Actually, two questions. First one is going to be safety, just because we know how schools are in different parts of the country.
Yep.
What kind of safety precautions are you taking, and then what kind of safety precautions are the construction crew taking to make sure that our kids are safe? And then the other part is, and I'm not sure if you're involved in this, but are we doing anything different to make sure that we're hiring quality teachers?
Yes.
And what would that?
Okay, so the first part, those are two totally not related questions.
That's why I changed it.
So let's see if I can remember the two. The first one is safety. Yes, and I was on the board when we designed the high school, and we took the plans and ripped them apart and said, no, do this, do this, do this. So we made sure that between each of those buildings, there's a very tall fence that during the day will be closed. The only way in will be in through the administration building during the day. So that's number one. We'll have campus supervisors all day long who will be circulating around the campus, making sure everything is safe. And we will need to have parent meetings in the very near future to talk about putting together our school safety plan. And part of that is making goals not just for physical safety of students, but social and emotional safety. And making sure that we have a plan in place for what happens when a kid is, there's some serious problems and we need to intervene psychologically. So those are all being put in place, and there will be opportunities, and if you haven't liked the Facebook page, do it soon, because a lot of our communication is going out through there. But yes, there will be plans for that, and you will have ability to have input to that. As far as the teacher part of things, I have to supervise these teachers, and I've already told you a little bit about what I think good instruction looks like, and I'm not hiring anybody that doesn't teach that way. I'm not hiring teachers who are going to come in and sit in the front of the classroom and do their crossword puzzle while their kids do 50 math questions. That's not acceptable to me. And the people that are coming in, we haven't completely discussed the interview process, but we're thinking that a part of that process might be either having to send a video of them in teaching, or getting a group of students down here at the district office and requiring successful candidates before we hire them to teach a math lesson. Yes! Because then we know what these teachers are like. They're not just talking it, they're walking it every day. Okay, there was another hand in the back, yes?
I have 3 questions.
Sure.
Foreign language, what will the options be? School bus, will there be a school bus option? And is there a summer school and something?
Okay, good questions. First is world languages. World language, we're planning on offering Spanish and possibly French face-to-face, but we're going to be creating a World Language Institute where students can take courses online, but they're synchronous with live teachers. So one of their periods of the day may be an online course with a teacher who's sitting somewhere in a classroom or an office somewhere teaching the language, and they're actually engaging in instruction with that teacher and students at the same time. to hopefully take any language it is you want them to take. Now, if you want face-to-face classes here, we need to hear that on these lists over here. If there's enough interest in a language like I speak Vietnamese, if you want to learn Vietnamese, then we're going to put that up there. If there's a huge need for Punjabi or Hindi or Italian or Latin, if you want to see Latin, because that's something that really high-performing schools offer Latin. So it really could be sky's the limit. Remember, when we offer a face-to-face course, we need kids in neat little boxes of about 25 to 30. They don't always come that way. So we're trying to create an environment. A lot of school districts tell students, no, you can't take online courses. We're going to be more of the philosophy that, you know what, online courses are valid learning. In fact, I'm going through a doctoral program, and my project right now in Innovations for Education class is on online learning, and there are studies out there that show that the #1 best way of learning is a blended environment, where students are learning both face-to-face and online. The #2 most effective method of learning is purely online. And the lowest effective is sitting in a room face-to-face. So we're going with our classrooms for blended learning, which is #1. If that's not possible or students choose online, then we'll go that route. And we're not having route #3. We're not having classes where teachers are sitting up, standing, and delivering. It's not happening in our district. So I saw one here, and then I'll come over this way.
School buses?
Oh, sorry, school buses from Lammersville, yes, I think, right? We haven't really discussed, but
That makes so much sense.
we'll have to see. I'm not sure. To be continued on that one. And the third one was, sorry?
Summer school? Will
Summer
there
school.
be option for-
I'll go back again to the if we need it. We are looking to, the board hasn't approved, but we're looking into a course requirement that students will have the opportunity to take more credits than they need over their 4 years, so there's a little wiggle room for students. And if there isn't wiggle room and they maybe fail the course or they need to pick up a couple of credits, again, there's the online option. There's always going to be that option for students to take that class that way. I'm going this way.
I have my hand.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry, you and then over here. Sorry, you're right.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Just a quick question. I just want to know your composition of your faculty. Are you going to have more of those career teachers, like, they got out from college and they start teaching? Or are you going to have a mix of people who actually have the professional experience and teaching experience? The reason I ask that is today it seems like there's a lot of disconnect. Meaning that, there's certain things that the real world wants, and then there's certain things that academia wants. Somehow, they don't seem to match.
Right.
So that's...
Well, and Common Core State Standards, and I know it's a dirty word for some people, but it's not for me. Common Core State Standards are really working to get rid of the disconnect, because we start with college and career readiness anchor standards, and we've mapped them backwards to the skills that students need at each grade level. So the answer to your question about what kind of staff we're going to have is, I don't know that I care so much about where they're coming from. I care a lot more about what do they do in the classroom? What does their instruction look like? And then when the data comes out the other end, have they succeeded in teaching the kids the standards that they need to know to be successful for college and career? So where they come from doesn't really bother me. It's what they do when they're in the classroom and the results they get with the students. Does that make sense?
It makes sense on the surface, but deep down, how do you assess them? I mean, the reason I ask that is because, like, on paper, they do really good. It's like, I'm not trying to be biased, but I'm just trying to bring out points so that people can think about it. Is that, like, if somebody brought up from school and then they continue on going to teach the next kid, it's more like a carbon copy. It kind of copy it, and then at the end, it doesn't have any inputs. That renders things useless.
Right.
So, like, when somebody who actually gone through the real world, gone through the stages, they have more experience, things that they can expose on students to what they can pass on.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure I agree with 100% that one is better than the other. Because I'm looking at, as an educator of 15 years, knowing what good instruction looks like and making sure the data that's coming out of that classroom proves that the teacher is doing what's right for the kids and that they're meeting the standards. Over here, and then I'll try back this way.
What is your scheduling look like? Is it going to be semesters or is it going to be the trimesters?
No,
or
semester,
is it gonna be blocks, or is
traditional,
it-
no block, traditional bell schedule, 6 periods a day with an A and a B afterwards, possibly. 56-minute class periods. We're not doing I'm not a fan of the block schedule. Over here and then here.
So the camp on the quality of teachers, so do they have like a 1-year trial period and you can fire them at the end of the year?
I know what you're getting at.
There's the movie teachers and there's the teachers that think they know it and you can't get rid of them, you know, and.
You know what? That's not true. Because if you have a good administrator who knows what they're doing, bad teachers leave.
And that doesn't seem to happen, so
Yeah.
you got a plan?
I'm so happy you said that.
Look into my track record in
Okay.
Pleasanton and you'll know that it happens
Good.
to me. So
Good.
I believe in supervising. First of all, I believe in trusting teachers.
Sure.
Because the majority, especially when I'm hiring them, it's going to be difficult to get past me. And I'm in the classroom. I go into the classrooms. That's my job as an instructional leader, is to be there. So that when a parent comes and said, did you know this is going on in the classroom? I know already, or it's already been taken care of. So really what it comes down to is the instructional leader needs to trust their teachers, and then they need to follow up with that by making sure that the agreements and the culture that we create at the school is something that's followed with fidelity. And that's my job as an instructional leader, and I promise to you that that's what I will do. I will do that. Remember, I have 7 kids. We're going to go through the school. And I will not put other people's kids in a class that I would not put my own child in. I won't do it.